A classmate's mom tried to get me expelled for selling deadly drugs. Now they're being sued for embezzlement. I picked up a few unsavory addictions in grade 10. Cigarettes, to benzodiazepine, Xanax, to opioids, OxyContin and Percocet. I was very depressed and I changed schools for my senior year, to a smaller school where I knew most of the people. I was trying to start new, with old friends and new people. Well, some rumors followed me. I was still a heavy stoner and so were my friends at this school. This got some unwanted attention. Some people just don't care to hide it. It became problematic a few months into the school year, when an anonymous letter was sent into the school, claiming to be concerned for my well-being, saying I was going to school high, smoking my friends on breaks. Partly true. I managed to avoid punishment because there wasn't anything to back it up, and the principal and VP weren't happy about the anonymous BS. Then came a few more letters saying I was selling pills to younger kids, pressuring them into taking them. They claimed they had 12 kids' parents on board to pull their kids if I wasn't expelled. My parents were pissed. Some of my teachers started treating me differently. Kids I had been friends with distanced themselves. It caused me to relapse hard, and ruin my grades. I made it past it all, didn't get expelled, passed my courses, and still have a few friends from the school. Now on the culprit, this lady. She had sent letters to kids I knew saying everybody hated them, they should leave the school, etc. We knew it was her in previous instances because of a WhatsApp number she used to threaten someone, and anon letters written in the same word style got attributed to her. She's psycho, always meddling, even in her younger daughter's shit, who was 10 or 11 at the time, keeping her kids from hanging out with kids she doesn't like, or whose parents she doesn't like. Today I read an article, about 2 years after the fact, saying their nonprofit is being sued by the province I live in for embezzlement, accused of stealing $4 million through a few shell corporations, some bogus program they literally sold to themselves through another company they own, and some other shit I don't want to get into. I feel bad for the daughter. She was chill when we were younger, but fuck her mom. I never did shit to hurt anybody at that school. I kept my head down and tried to deal with my demons, and she didn't let me. But karma got her ass, so it's cool. Ida for agreeing with my sister after she accused me of not liking her or caring what's going on in her life. 22F I have 3 younger sisters, 20F Ariel, 14F Lily, and 12F Michelle. My parents have always been very open about favoring Ariel over the rest of us. Likely because Ariel has a more social and extroverted personality type, like our parents, whereas me, Lily, and Michelle are more quiet and usually stick to a small group of friends. Ariel also was the only sibling who shared certain hobbies with our dad, so he especially, but still both of our parents would show favoritism to Ariel through things such as being involved in her hobbies, having an active interest in her social life, praising her accomplishments, and getting her nicer presents, whereas I did not receive that treatment and Lily and Michelle currently do not either. I know that our parents are the ones choosing to openly favor Ariel and their favoritism isn't her fault directly, but Ariel recognizes the favoritism to the point of being able to verbally acknowledge it, yet is okay with it since she's the favorite. She actually rubs it in my, Lily, and Michelle's faces. Just a few weeks ago, Ariel told Lily and Michelle that it was their faults that our dad ignores them by saying something along the lines of he'd be interested in you as well if you were good at XYZ. If you want that, then you should try getting into XYZ. I only talk to our parents to stay close to Lily and Michelle. I don't make any effort to be involved with Ariel at all. This school year, both Lily and Michelle made the honor roll at their school. Since our mom didn't acknowledge it beyond an "oh, good job," and our dad didn't acknowledge it at all, I took Lily and Michelle to Dave and Buster's and some of their other favorite spots to celebrate. I admit we stayed out pretty late. My parents were spending the night somewhere else, so only Ariel was home by the time we got back. After Lily and Michelle went to bed, I was preparing to leave when Ariel asked to talk. Ariel brought up that I hadn't come to her graduation. I told Ariel that she never came to any of my graduations, plus she didn't even ask me to be at hers. Ariel told me her birthday last month was bad enough because a lot less people came than she expected and I didn't get her a present when I clearly had the money to take Lily and Michelle out. Ariel accused me of not liking her or caring about what's going on in her life. I told Ariel in as objective a way as possible that her accusation was true for the reasons explained in the second paragraph. She said herself, "We aren't worthy of being our parents' favorite like she is, so just leave us be." Ariel cried, but I was too tired to deal with her and just went home. I talked to some friends about the situation, and a few told me that they feel bad for Ariel. They said she is also a victim of our parents' favoritism and now she has to watch her sisters be super close to one another while she's the odd one out. Ida for still arguing with my friends that Ariel is now 20 and is no victim now that she's an adult. Edited the post to include our ages, as requested. Ida for getting my neighbor arrested after she poured gas in my plants. I 32F am a very passionate gardener. I have one flower bed on the side of my house that faces a bunch of windows on my neighbor's house. This one flower bed for some reason gets a lot of sedge grass in it, but I can't spray any herbicide because my wildflowers are so dense. I spend a couple hours a week weeding the bed out by hand and don't squat to do it. I just bend over. 2 weeks ago my next door neighbor came out and told me that I need to stop wearing shorts and bending over with my A to her house. I was kind of caught off guard and told her my shorts aren't short, so I'm pretty sure I'm not mooning you. She then goes on about how she has sons and they don't need to see my A when they look out the window, and how there are a lot of older folks in our neighborhood who don't want to see me either. I got offended because my shorts are appropriate and I'm friendly with the houses around. They have never said anything of the sort to me. Plus it's 100+ degrees outside. I also let her know that I have a bad knee, so I can't kneel squat, I bend because that's what most comfortable. We went back and forth for a bit until I just wished her a good day and went back inside. I went to my husband and bent over in front of him and asked if he could see my butt from my short, and he said no. So I just kind of brushed the whole thing off until 2 days ago I went to go pluck my flower bed and wasn't bothered. Like, okay, cool, I'm in the clear. But then the next morning I looked at my phone and saw a bunch of driveway camera notifications, and when I went back to look at the videos, this lady was like a movie villain with a gas can pouring liquid on my flower bed. I ran outside and yup, I could smell the gasoline. I started bawling. My husband came out to see why I bolted and was like, "Is that gasoline?" I showed him the video and he wanted to go over and confront her as he was pissed off, saying she could have killed us or set our house on fire. But I didn't want to have another argument with this lady, so we called to file a police report. The cops came out and took the report. They told us pouring gas out is illegal and not just vandalism. After sitting outside our house for a while, they went to go talk to her and chaos broke out. We could hear her yelling at the cops, threatening them, and her kids crying. They called for backup and she was arrested. A bunch of our neighbors were standing outside watching this all go down, and so were we. Everyone was trying to figure out what happened, and I told them about the gasoline and everyone was 50-50. One of the older ladies said that because she was arrested at her house a month ago, her kids have already been through enough trauma, and I added another event for them. And what if her kids get taken away? The dad is cool. It made me go from feeling like she deserved it to feeling guilty. Ida for initially not believing my son when he said he was sick. I'm a 48-year-old single mom to 2 kids. We'll call them Rachel and Vic. Rachel recently turned 18, and she has a lot of chronic health issues she's been struggling with since she was little. We've been blessed that she has a lot of good periods, but right now she's having some trouble, likely due to the stress of next year's graduation and all that entails. I've been kept pretty busy making sure she stays as healthy as possible. I think Vic has always resented the extra attention his sister receives, which is understandable. I've always tried my best to make sure he has special time devoted to him, too. But I'd be lying if I said Rachel's health hasn't taken precedence over everything else. About a month ago we had the good news that Vic will likely be graduating early due to academic excellence. I was so happy and congratulated him. But I noticed that since then his behavior seemed to be worse. He was more moody, short with me, not eating meals I made. Last week I took Rachel to the doctors over a sinus issue. While we were there, Vic called from school saying he was in a lot of pain and could I take him home early. I told him he knew I was at the doctor with Rachel. He got pissy and said some not so nice things about me favoring her. I'll admit I jumped to conclusions and thought that this, combined with his other bad behavior, meant he was just trying to get attention, since his early graduation news hadn't given him enough. I told him because of his attitude I wasn't picking him up early at all, and after Rachel's doctor visit was over I went to work as usual. When I got home, everything seemed normal, but when I called the kids down for dinner Vic didn't come. When I checked his room I quickly realized he's genuinely sick. I immediately rushed him to the doctors and apologized profusely to him for not believing him initially. I tried to explain that his behavior recently is why I assumed he just wanted attention. He said if it was Rachel I wouldn't have made that assumption, though I assured him this wasn't true. Since then he hasn't really talked to me. Was I really being the asshole? I think I made an honest mistake and corrected it as soon as I found out things were serious. Ida for leaving equal inheritance to kids from my wife and ex-wife. My wife is a Som. I've 2 boys with my ex-wife and a boy and a girl with my wife, in that order. The boys primarily live with their mom. I want all my assets to be divided equally among all 4 of my children. I feel a duty towards all of them equally. However, my wife feels our mutual kids should get more because my ex-wife has done quite nicely for herself and the boys are set for life. Me and my wife aren't close to poor, but definitely not at the level of my ex-wife, who has always been really good with money. Neither of us pays child support to the other because although they live with her most of the time she does make a lot more money. I have always felt guilty that in effect she has contributed the most to bringing up the boys, both labor and money, while I saw them a couple times a year at most. My wife is a Som and worked part-time for a while when the kids were about 6-7, then decided she didn't want to go to work anymore. In essence all the cash of our household comes from me, so you can tell we're not exactly rich like like the boy's mom. Except the house and the joint bank account for household expenses, most of the money is under my name only. I've arranged for my share to go evenly to 4 parties and my wife's share to go to the mutual kids only. I will not receive anything if she passes first and vice versa. My wife thinks I am converting her household labor to cash and giving it to my ex-wife, which makes no sense to me. While I value her contributions to everything, she did benefit from living without a job for so long and continues to do so. I do not mind providing for her, so it felt unfair to say I was exploiting her. And my ex-wife is not receiving any money from me whatsoever, only my sons are. My wife thinks I shouldn't leave anything to the boys because they already received emotional heirlooms from my mother, who sadly passed on before our kids were born. They do not have too much monetary value because they shouldn't be sold anyway. X200B extra info. Essentially, I don't see why my son-daughter should get extra. If I had sent child support to the boy's mom, I wouldn't feel so bad. My ex-wife did more for my kids with her than my wife did for our mutual kids because I was a very involved parent.